Hello and welcome, my name is Nate from Video Games Recon, and as per usual we're going to be recapping this week's popular culture and gaming news that I find interesting and think you will too. Please keep in mind this video was recorded either early Friday morning or evening on UK time, so some important news could be missing and that this video will be posted most likely on a Saturday. Anywho, enough jibber jabber, without any further ado, let's do it to it. First up, a little movie news. Karl, Cate Blanchett and Jeff Goldblum have all been added to the cast of the upcoming film Thor Ragnarok. Honestly, the Thor films are by far the most uninspired in the Marvel universe in my opinion. They're not bad, they're just kinda meh. So it's good to see them mix it up a bit and get some more talent in there, as well as mix up the story a little. As in interviews, this film has been referred to as having more of a buddy road trip type feel by Mark Ruffalo, as the Hulk is also set to star in this film, and it sounds like he will have much more of a pivotal role as aside from just a cameo. I think it makes sense to get more quality talent into this franchise and take some risks to save it from being a mediocre series in the shadow of Captain America, Iron Man and so on. Now into gaming news. Gran Turismo Sport, or Gran Turismo 7 if you prefer, has gotten a release date of November 15th. Not a whole lot to say here, as the last Gran Turismo game that meant anything to me was Gran Turismo 4. Played that game a bunch but dropped off after 5 as it all felt a little too repetitive to me. So personally it doesn't excite me a whole lot, but it's not all about me, and there is a large fan base that I'm sure are stoked for this game. And due to the developers passing on the beta, it will be in people's hands very soon. Let's just hope this still means Gran Turismo will have the usual level of polish and shine fans have come to expect. There are some interesting murmurs going around that the developers behind Dying Light, Techland, are working on a new IP as well as a possible Dying Light sequel, which sounds like a smart move as they must have made a bunch of money from the first Dying Light, so it makes sense to continue working on that and expand their company so as not to put all their putrid zombified eggs in one basket, and potentially be outshone and make the same mistake as their old stomping grounds the Dead Island franchise did. The spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, Yooka-Laylee, will be getting a playable demo in July for all its Kickstarter backers. I'm glad to see this genre is making a comeback. It's been long enough now that we've had time to miss these sorts of games, and with quality titles like the new Ratchet & Clank, and hopefully now this game, it's time for the genre to get another shot at the limelight. Ubisoft has announced the 1.2 Conflict update to be released imminently on May 24th. This news is incredibly underwhelming to me. I played the last patch and gave the incursion a go and was not impressed. As well as gear progression issues, the Falcon Lost incursion was shit, with it being pretty much a glorified horde mode with a stationary APC and some drones. And although I'm sure they've learnt a bunch from that update, I don't see how they've had time to improve the next incursion a whole lot, so I'd expect much of the same on that front. And the gear thing could be hit or miss. Probably the latter. This most likely won't even get me to log back into the Division, let alone be hyped for it. What about you guys? Does this excite you in any way? Maybe you're just hyped to troll people in the Dark Zone by cutting extraction ropes on people. Or do the new gear sets float your boat? Feel free to hit me up with your thoughts in the comments. With E3 just around the corner, we're starting to get teased with all sorts of potential gaming news goodies, as Take-Two, the publishers of most Rockstar games, has said they're going to be ready to announce some upcoming games soon. So maybe if we're lucky we could get an announcement of Red Dead Redemption 2, or maybe a new IP at E3 this year. Fingers crossed. As well as an upcoming announcement, again at E3, Resident Evil 7 will be going back to its survival horror roots according to a well-known gaming analyst, who also hints at a possible reboot, and discusses Capcom's hiring of developers who worked on PT and Metal Gear Solid 5. After Resident Evil 6, they really don't have much to lose, as it can't get a whole lot worse, so a reboot sounds like a solid idea to me, and I don't feel Capcom are past the point of no return with this franchise, as they've been smashing it out of the park with their remasters. So this would be my advice for Capcom. Drop the Umbrella Corps, no one gives a fuck about that game. Stop trying to be COD, or at very least make the game free to play. And try and find a way to merge the spirit of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 with updated controls, graphics and a decent story, and you'll be onto a winner. The reason for Kojima's weird little road trip at the end of last year, start of this year, has come to light. It appears he was, in a way, looking for interesting technology, but not in the shape of hardware, more in the way of game engines. As although Kojima usually likes to use proprietary game engines, he said that he's looking for a third-party engine so he can get his next game to market that much quicker. This sounds like great news for all the fans out there who are curious to see what Kojima's cooking up in his new independent studio, as a move like this could easily knock off a year or so of development time. Sticking with Kojima news, he's just released a full body image of his new company mascot. Could this also be a hint at his upcoming game? Who knows, but even this guy's mascot looks super dope. Seems the guy can do no wrong at the moment. Destiny leaks galore, as a leaked image of this year's flagship DLC, Rise of Iron, is doing the rounds on the internet. This looks pretty cool and all, and if it has a raid will probably tide over hardcore fans till Destiny 2 or another DLC drop. But much like The Division, doesn't really do much for a gamer like me. That said, I think learning the backstory of High Duke Captain Salamander, and the Iron Banner is an interesting move, as that guy, whatever the hell his name is, looks like he's got a story or two to tell, and potentially focusing the DLC more towards PvP would also be a smart move, as that's the mode that probably has the most longevity. And how could we go a week without another rumour of a possible console iteration or the Nintendo NX? And this week it's the latter, as the new Nintendo president has been reported as saying the NX will not be a successor to the Wii U or 3DS, whatever the fuck that means, which adds yet more speculation as to what in the hell is the NX gonna be. A powerful console, a console handheld hybrid, a stream box, perhaps none of the above and will run a service like PlayStation Now through third-party hardware. Honestly, at this point, I think Nintendo's just making up rumours themselves so we keep talking about the NX and not the Wii U being phased out. My best guess at the moment is that it's something like contemporary hardware featuring a streaming service and a network like Steam with optional physical media akin to a USB stick or cartridge, also with optional second screen handheld integration via either the 3DS successor or mobile phones, and classic Nintendo games being available on other hardware. And for an off-the-wall theory, I've been pondering something that no one else seems to be talking about. What if Nintendo's decided to jump on the whole VR and AR bandwagon, as the new CEO has been reported as saying the NX will be an entirely new way of playing games. And this would make sense as to why it wouldn't be a direct successor to the Wii U or 3DS. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Honestly, the more we supposedly find out about the NX, the less I feel we know. So, that was my recap of the week's gaming news or points of interest. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff I'll miss each week, so feel free to post anything you're into that I missed in the comments section for discussion. Anywho, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.